I am Valentina, and life has been on my mind a lot lately. I'm all about being independent, thanks to my awesome dad who raised me that way, but things got a bit messy recently when I had issues with my not-so-friendly mother-in-law. Let me take you back to how my husband Alan and I met. We were interns at the same marketing gig when I was 24. We became good friends. But you know how the story goes. Spending more time together led us to fall head over heels in love. So when we found out we were expecting last year, we couldn't resist tying the knot. Sure, some might think it was just because of the baby, but we genuinely wanted to make it official. It was a special moment, and the only person who knew beforehand was my best friend, Kara. When we told our parents, things were a bit different on each side. We broke the news to our parents. Let me tell you, my family is not your typical Hispanic family. We come from a background where my father started with very little, but managed to make a name for himself by starting his own company. It wasn't easy for him to face challenges as a person of color, but he never let that stop him. Instead, he encouraged both Mom and me to break stereotypes and pursue our dreams. Given our not-so-traditional background, my parents were totally fine with us getting eloped and married. They were genuinely happy for us. And let me tell you, when we shared the news about the baby with my parents, they were over the moon with excitement. However, Alan's parents had a much less enthusiastic reaction. It seemed like they weren't as thrilled about our marriage and didn't engage with me the way my parents did. Within a week of spilling the news, my parents dropped by our apartment for dinner. They were all about giving us their blessings and, of course, eager to meet Alan. Alan's parents were also invited, but they were a no-show. Anyway, fast forward to my second trimester, and guess what? Alan's parents finally decided to grace us with their presence while they were in town for a friend's wedding. We all gathered for dinner together at our place, but honestly, it was awkward. I've been really looking forward to hanging out with you all. I mean, we're family now, right? I tend to think of folks who share my blood as family, I said, trying to break the ice. Mom, give her a break. I've heard a bunch about your dad, Alan chimed in. Oh yeah, he's put in a ton of work to get where he is now. He's the big guy at the company, huh? William, Alan's dad, responded. Definitely, yeah. So, is the company all set up? You know, building a solid foundation takes time. Or are you all still hiring and trying to figure out what's best? Elaine, Alan's mom, asked. Honestly, I'm not sure, I replied, feeling a bit uncomfortable with the line of questioning. Dad, quit bugging Valentina about her dad's company, Alan interjected. My bad, I'm sorry. I'm sure Valentina has some interesting stories of her own as well, William said, trying to diffuse the tension. William, dear, you need to drive back to the hotel. So, maybe take it easy on the wine, dear, Elaine suggested. We're really sorry about the sudden elopement and the baby news. Everything just happened so quickly. We wanted our closest friends and family, especially you all and my parents, to be a part of it, Alan explained. No need to apologize. Honestly, I'm kind of glad I wasn't there to witness the chaos. This steak is undercooked. Who cooked this? Elaine exclaimed. Valentina and I took a shot at it, Mom. But please, I'm officially tapping out of this dinner, Alan said, frustrated. William, dear, could you please wrap things up? I want to leave. And by the way, congrats to you two, Elaine said abruptly. The dinner was an absolute fiasco, and Elaine seemed to have a laser focus on me. She had been throwing shade at me from every angle. It was pretty obvious she wasn't on my team, and her sarcastic comments were evident enough. I knew that winning her over wouldn't be a walk in the park, but I had to take my shot for Alan's sake. After all, family meant the world to him. As we carried on with our lives, Alan was busy with his marketing job, while I took time off due to my pregnancy. We were midway through the 3rd trimester when my best friend Kara suggested it was time for a baby shower, and we loved the idea. Being the extra person that I am, I wanted the most amazing baby shower ever. We decided to invite all our friends and, of course, both of our families who hadn't met each other yet. It seemed like the perfect opportunity to bring everyone together. Kara, being a pro at event planning, found us a spacious botanical garden venue since our apartment couldn't accommodate so many people. About a week before the big day, we sent out invitations to all our friends and relatives, and we got green flags from both our families that they would be there to celebrate with us. Both sets of parents arrived in town a day before the baby shower, and I had an idea. I suggested that we take them out to dinner and let them get acquainted in a private setting before the big event. I thought it would be a great way for everyone to feel more comfortable and at ease during the baby shower. But little did I know that this plan would completely dampen my mood for the upcoming celebration. We had made restaurant reservations, and my mom arrived first. I asked her where Dad was, and she said he got caught up with something important. As we were catching up at the table, Alan's parents joined us. My mother-in-law greeted my mom with a chilly smile, and you could feel the tension in the air. Then my mom went up and shook hands with my father-in-law. "It is nice to meet you, Mariana," she said. "Nice to meet you. Oh, we once hired a maid for our house, and she had the same last name as you," my mother-in-law replied. We all just looked at each other like, did she really say that? Oh, really? That's an interesting coincidence. Anyway, let's order some drinks, I said, trying to change the subject. Also, why isn't your dad here, Valentina? And just like that, Elaine's comment got swept under the rug. I've got to be honest, I was fuming inside. How could she make such a thoughtless comment to my mom? It really got under my skin. I couldn't wrap my head around why Elaine would say something so hurtful and insulting, not just to me, but especially to my family. I tried my best to shift my focus away from the awkward encounter. The rest of the dinner was pretty much small talk between the parents, while Alan and I continued to talk about the baby and our excitement for the future. After dinner, when it was time for our parents to leave, I walked my mom out while Alan was seeing his parents off. I felt the need to apologize to my mom for Elaine's behavior. "Mom, I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry about what Elaine said. She hasn't exactly warmed up to me yet, but I'm hoping she'll come around eventually." "It's okay, Mija. You are a wonderful girl, and I know you'll win her over in time. Your dad and I will see you tomorrow. Get home safe. Bye, Valentina. Bye. Love you. Tell Dad his presence was missed." The car ride home was just as awkward as the dinner. I was really hoping Alan would say something about his mom's behavior, or at least explain it, but he didn't bring it up, and I was surprised. I decided not to confront him at that moment because I did not want to ruin the baby shower. I figured I'd talk to him about it after the event, hoping we could sort things out then. So we got home, tried to sleep off the tension, and woke up to the big day, the baby shower. We reached the venue around noon, and Kara was already there, busy setting up everything with the workers. She was working magic with the crew, and the place looked amazing with balloons, confetti, flowers, decorations, glitter and sparkles everywhere. Guests started arriving at 2, and Alan and I were on hosting duty, trying to make everyone feel welcome. But just when my parents showed up, Alan's parents walked in too, and let me tell you, I wasn't sure how to feel about that after the drama from the night before. I was still kind of cheesed off with Alan, but I kept my cool for the moment. Then, to my surprise, Elaine decided to break the ice. "Hello, Mariana." "Hello, Manuel." "Hey, it's nice to see you again. You know, I've been thinking about what happened yesterday, and I just wanted to say, I'm sorry for my behavior. It was totally uncalled for." "No worries. It's nothing we can't move past. Let's just move forward and enjoy today, okay?" my mom replied. "This is my husband, Manuel. Manuel, meet Elaine. It's nice to finally meet you in person," I introduced. "Likewise, Elaine. And oh, Mr. Herrera, this is my husband, William. Actually, William knows all about your company. Back in the day, you were quite the go-getter when you were up and coming," my mom added. "Nice. I know your husband, too. The world is so small," Elaine said. "What? You know my husband, William? Have you guys met before?" I asked, surprised. "What just happened?" Alan chimed in. It turns out that not only was Elaine caught off guard, but all of us were totally surprised to find out that William and my dad already knew each other. You've got to be kidding, right? Now you don't know. Well, he works with me. Wait, hold on, none of us knew this. Dad, you have some explaining to do. Fill us in, please. He manages my $50 million portfolio. What about that job with Christopher? Weren't you managing for him, William? Couldn't we just talk about this when we get home? Huh, Dad? Why didn't you tell us about this before? You've been keeping this as a secret from us. Yeah, how did this even start? It's not like that. It just never came up. Let's just not make a big deal of it, okay? You have guests waiting. Wow, what a whirlwind of a day it had been. The revelation about William and my dad knowing each other took us completely by surprise, and it just got swept under the rug during the baby shower. But honestly, I couldn't shake off the thoughts about it. My father-in-law had been working for my dad. Why didn't William mention it last night when Alan brought up my dad at dinner? And did my dad already know him before hiring him? So many questions were popping in my head. Despite the lingering mystery, the baby shower went well. But that topic was like an elephant in the room. Alan and I could not ignore it any longer. He even told me that we needed to talk about it because he had no idea either. After the party wrapped up and we got home, we both decided to make those calls individually. Of course, Alan to his dad and me to mine. We both retreated to separate rooms and made our respective calls to our family members. We agreed that after talking, we'd compare notes and figure out the truth. Hey, Dad. Morita, you should be resting today. It was a long day and the baby's due soon. See, Dad, see? I just wanted to talk to you about something first. I think I know where this is going. How long has my father-in-law been working for you? For a month now. I did not realize he was your father-in-law when I hired him. It was just a coincidence. How could I possibly know he had just been fired by his management team, and I gave the poor guy a chance? He knew all about you a couple of months ago when I met him and Elaine for the first time. He could not stop praising you and your company. It's just strange that he never mentioned me to you, don't you think? You know, people have their own ways of doing things, and sometimes they keep certain things to themselves. Maybe he had his reasons. I guess so, but it's still a bit odd. Get some rest and take care of yourself. Don't let this stuff keep you up at night, Mihai. Good night. Okay, good night, Dad. I finished my call with my dad, and as I was making my way to Alan's room to fill him in, I overheard him on the phone. He sounded pretty upset, and I tried to eavesdrop. Okay. Mom, what if Dad works for Valentina's dad? You're so obsessed with what people think, and you don't have to act superior all the time. Maybe that's why Dad kept this from you. He knew you'd make his life hell if you found out. I tried to let go of that Mariana incident. But you really went overboard, Mom. Insulting people won't make you better than them. I love Valentino, and I won't defend you again on this. Just get over it and accept her. Maybe apologize to her. Yeah, okay. Bye. Once Alan was done, I played it cool, pretending I didn't hear a thing. We exchanged stories about our conversations with our respective parents, and I was completely honest, as was Alan. He addressed his dad's job situation. His dad had been in a tough spot, going through a rough patch after getting fired. William lucked out and got selected for my dad's job that he had posted about. He didn't mention it to Elaine and the rest of the family, knowing she'd flip out. She would not want William working for Manuel because she wouldn't want her family to be in any way dependent on her son's wife's family because her ego got in the way. I have got to say that I admire his dedication to making things work between us and his mom. He meant well to me that he had my B and wanted her to rethink her stance and apologize for her problematic comments. So, despite her past antics, I was willing to give her another shot for Alan's sake. He said she just needed some time. So, a whole month passed, and the baby was ready to make her grand entrance. Luckily, Alan was there when my water broke, and he rushed me to the hospital. We were blessed with a little girl, and we named her Catalina. She was just the cutest when I first saw her. Once we got home, our friends could not wait to meet our little baby girl. My parents caught a flight the very next day. Kara was all pumped up because now she had a niece to play dress-up with. Alan reached out to his mom and shared the news of our daughter's arrival. Even after weeks of not speaking to her, she didn't visit us for a whole week. But then, out of the blue, she called Alan and asked if she could make arrangements for my parents to visit so she could apologize and start anew with our family. So I called my folks and asked if they could drop by for a day. They were totally up for it. We were just over the moon, feeling super strong as a couple and soaking up all the happiness. The big day finally arrived, and Alan and I prepared some lick-smacking dishes to celebrate with everyone. Catalina was the star of the show, bringing our families together. Soon enough, everyone had gathered. My mom surprised me with the sweetest gift, a matching baby blanket and a pastel pink mummy scarf made out of soft wool that she knitted herself. It was so thoughtful, and I cherished it dearly, keeping it safe in my room. As we all settled in, Alan's dad took the lead and apologized for not informing my dad that he was my father-in-law. It was a good step to break the ice, and from there, everyone started mingling and getting along. My mom and Elaine even cleared the air, and it seemed like they were bonding over how adorable Catalina was and how she had gotten my eyes and Alan's nose. But in the middle of it all, I noticed Elaine was missing. I went to look for her and found her in my room. Elaine was soaking the muffler my mom made in her glass of fine wine. And to make matters worse, she poured the remaining wine all over the blanket. I could not believe the audacity of this woman. Without thinking, I snatched the wet muffler from Elaine's hands and stormed back into the living room where everyone was seated. All eyes were on me, and Elaine followed me out. Okay, that's it, Elaine. You've been driving me nuts since day one, insulting my parents, acting all high and mighty, and now ruining this sweet gift from my mom. You've been nothing but bitter, and you have treated me like trash. What the hell, Mom? What did you do now? She ruined the present my mom got us. How immature is this? Why are you doing this? Being this petty isn't making you look good. You know I've given you way too many chances. I've seriously given it so many tries to let go of the past and move on. But it's like you're stuck in your ways, huh? I've been putting in the effort to build a connection with you because I genuinely care about your son. I've put up with all the nonsense, but it's like you're not even willing to hear me out. You're just so set on trying to hurt me. I think it would be better if you just left and stayed away from my family. Alan, please, honey, you're my child, and yet you're the one who's acting like a child. We've tried to give you a chance to make things right, but you keep pushing it. I won't tolerate this behavior anymore. Dad, can you take Mom home? Elaine, maybe it's best if we go home now. Let me tell you, it was like a drama straight out of a reality show. When Alan put his foot down and asked his mom to leave, the whole room went silent, and you could have heard a pin drop. Elaine's face turned white as a ghost, and she started bawling like a baby. It was like a soap opera unfolding right before our eyes. I have to admit, seeing the look on Elaine's face after her son asked her to leave was pretty satisfying. As she walked out with tears in her eyes, I couldn't help but feel a little vindicated, and it felt pretty darn good. I always believe in treating people with kindness and respect, but sometimes some folks just need to learn their lesson the hard way. Alan was very apologetic to my parents, and honestly, they deserved it. Even my dad told me that the next day my father-in-law reached out to him at work and apologized for his wife's behavior. But hey, we're done with all that nonsense now. We've cut off Elaine from our lives, and good riddance, I say. Ain't nobody got time for that negativity when we've got our adorable little Catalina in the picture. Alan was a bit down about his mom, but he's doing what's best for our little family, and honestly, she's been trying to reach out through William, but it's all just a show. I ain't falling for that act again. What goes around comes around, folks.